This is The Good Government Show.
The future of America runs through America's cities, and housing is absolutely critical for us to remain competitive and grow jobs at the same time. We want to make sure that there are more options, and we want to make sure that, whether you're on foot, on bike, on a bus, or in a car, that you're safe and that you have access to all the things that you need to make your life better. The best job in America is being mayor, and I intend to do it as long as my wife, daughter, and the people of Columbus support me doing it. That's the beauty of good government. It can always get better. It can always get better. And if we are committed to continuous improvement, that's what we ought to be about. A wise woman once told me, people don't fear change, they fear loss.
The Conference of Mayors unites mayors around the nation to advocate for cities and to work together to get cities and the people who live there the assistance they need. I got to sit down with Andy Ginther, the mayor of Columbus, Ohio, and the current president of the Conference of Mayors. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I'm your host, Dave Martin. First, help us share the message of good government by liking us and sharing us where we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And always share our show with your friends. Let's get everyone excited about good government. So, Andy Ginther is wrapping up his year as president of the Conference of Mayors. I talked to him back when he was just getting started. We talked about housing, a number one issue for him in his term as president. It's an issue many cities are dealing with, and he wanted to make sure it was an issue that all cities got a chance to work on together. Needless to say, it's been a busy year in government. As we're dealing with the federal government's ever-changing tariff policy, the Conference of Mayors put out a statement, and I want to read what Mayor Ginther said. He said, quote, "When tariffs go up, prices go up, and businesses stop growing, which puts more pressure on the cost of living for our residents. America's mayors are calling for a trade policy that protects our businesses, workers, and families." He and the conference also spoke out to support a bipartisan Senate group that supported free trade with Canada, saying current policy sparked a trade war with our closest ally. The Conference of Mayors also called on Congress to assist with grants to convert unused property to housing units and increase tax credits for more new home construction. Clearly a busy year as president. Mayor Ginther said Columbus is one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. We discussed housing programs in his city and transportation programs and transportation alternatives. There's a lot going on in Columbus and with America's mayors. So join me as we hear how the mayors are working together for all of us. That's coming up after this. AI isn't the future of government, it's happening now. Let Polimorphic power your government with AI like other agencies are already doing. Polimorphic helps you power resident-first service to streamline requests while reducing staff workloads and speeding up how your citizens get answers. It's a secure system that's built for government. You'll see immediate results with more informed citizens. Want to see how AI can help you power a service-first government? Visit polymorphic.com. That's polymorphic.com. County government affects more people than any other form of government. That's why we like talking to so many representatives of county government here on the Good Government Show. They are the voice of public service. The National Association of Counties, or NACO, supports all 3,069 counties across the USA. This year, their annual conference is in Philadelphia in July. Plan to attend the conference and join them in their efforts to bring good government to America's counties. Check out the details at naco.org. That's naco.org. Welcome to the Good Government Show. We have a special guest, the current vice president, soon to be president of the Conference of Mayors, and the mayor of Columbus, Ohio, Mayor Andy Ginther. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. And we're here at the Conference of Mayors Conference, and you're about to take the top job. Looking forward to it. What are you most excited about, or what are you most nervous about?
Well, what I'm really excited about is being here in Kansas City. Mayor Quentin Lucas has done a phenomenal job hosting this. I know how much work it is because we hosted this event last year in Columbus, and Mayor Lucas has done a phenomenal job, and thrilled to be here in the middle of America in Kansas City, and excited about the year ahead. I mean, President Chivy has done an incredible job leading this conference over the last year. So really want to kind of build upon some of the great work she's done, work closely with David Holt, who's currently the second vice president, and he'll become vice president this weekend as well. The mayor of Oklahoma City. We just did, a podcast on bipartisanship and why mayors matter more now in American history than any other time.
Okay.
And so excited about the year ahead. Excited about pushing the U.S. Conference of Mayors agenda with both nominees that are running for president. Really wanting to work with them to develop a Marshall Plan for housing. Housing is the number one issue facing so many American cities. For us in Columbus, it's a supply crisis. We haven't had nearly enough housing units in the pipeline and coming to market over the last 10 or 15 years. And
housing at all levels. Correct?
Housing at all levels, market rate housing, workforce housing, affordable housing. We need all of the above. And we need the federal government to recognize housing as infrastructure and step up and invest in it so that our cities can continue to grow and thrive.
I and our listeners are about to learn something. Is housing not infrastructure?
It isn't necessarily considered infrastructure by the federal government.
Okay.
And we believe that housing is absolutely critical. Over 50% of the population lives in cities today. By 2050, over 70%. American cities and our metro economies contribute over 90% of the nation's GDP. The future of America runs through America's cities.
Yes.
And housing is absolutely critical for us to remain competitive and grow jobs at the same time.
I know that Mayor Shivey's push was for mental health support and awareness.
And we're going to continue to build upon that. That's a critical issue, particularly amongst young people, seniors, folks from all walks of life. We believe that the federal government has a role to play in investing in mental health. She's done an incredible job both sharing her personal story and leveraging her professional advocacy to put this issue top of mind, front and center nationally.
Right.
And we want to continue to build on that.
And will housing be sort of your thrust?
Yeah, housing, mental health, safety, transit. There are a whole number of issues that are part of our agenda, but housing is going to be a top priority for me. It's the number one issue in my community in Central Ohio, and it's one that's facing so many cities around America.
I have been to Columbus once. I was there.
We're thrilled to have you back anytime.
Well, thank you. We'll get to that in a minute.
When were you there?
When was I there? It was during the, 3 presidential elections ago. I guess it was a close vote there. Yeah. Went to the best steakhouse in Columbus.
Ohio used to be much more competitive than it has been currently.
Okay. So yes, that was my one trip to Columbus. I know Ohio State football, of course.
Sure.
And a Yankee fan. They used to be the home of the Columbus Clippers.
Absolutely.
Who's taken over for your minor league team now?
We're now affiliated with the Guardians, which is really great to have such a close connection with Cleveland and Columbus. And it's still one of the best places to watch baseball in all of America there at Huntington Ballpark. A great place, family friendly, affordable, right in the middle of the city. And it's one of my favorite ballparks in the country.
You're the mayor. Have you gotten to throw out the first pitch?
I don't think they've seen my arm. They may force me to throw underhanded.
Whatever it takes. I'm sure William Howard Taft, when he threw out the first pitch, didn't throw a strike. Yeah. So you'll be in good company. Want to talk a little bit about Columbus. I understand you have a transportation program you're working on called Link Us. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah,
that sounds like a good government project.
It's a really exciting, transformational project for us that's going to impact the entire region. Not only bus rapid transit, but transit supportive infrastructure, transit-oriented development. The issue will be on the ballot on November 5th. And so we're working together with the entire region, our transit authority, our regional planning commission, suburban governments and mayors, the Ohio State University, so many great partners, the Urban League, the Affordable Housing Trust. And it really is a great opportunity. So we have to generate local match, but it's a great opportunity to take advantage of the bipartisan infrastructure law. We'll be able to draw down about $1 billion of the $8 billion of this project from that bipartisan infrastructure law. So a great opportunity to get Columbus's residents federal tax money back into the city and investing in transit and mobility options for seniors, for folks with disabilities, for young people to access education, jobs, healthcare, all the things that are so important.
Will it have the side benefit of taking a few cars off the road too?
Absolutely. 80% of the vehicles in Columbus still are rolling around Central Ohio with one person in them. That's not very sustainable for a region of over 2 million.
No.
We're going to grow by a third over the next 30 years. So that's why we're rewriting our zoning code for the first time in 70 years. That's why we need to dramatically increase the amount of housing, but also have transit options and having, a transit network that will accommodate that type of growth.
Is there a call for more transit and more public transportation?
Absolutely. And we want to make sure that there are more options. And we want to make sure that, whether you're on foot, on bike, on a bus, or in a car, that you're safe and that you have access to all the things that you need to make your life better.
Well, I live in New York City, and I do ride a bike around New York City a lot. Mm-hmm. Are you installing bike lanes? Is that something you're looking at as well? Yeah,
having dedicated bike lanes is going to be critically important. Having connected,
a little barrier would help bike riders too.
Absolutely,
by the way.
Particularly in the Midwest. I mean, it is it is still a pretty car-centric place, and so we know that protected bike lanes are critically important. Connecting all the bike trails that we have in different parts of the region. So this issue will have benefits for sidewalks, bike trails, connectivity in every jurisdiction in Central Ohio. So regardless of where you live in Central Ohio, you're going to benefit from this issue passing.
You talked a little bit about zoning. How does that fit into the program?
Well, zoning is critically important. We haven't updated our zoning code in 70 years. Columbus was about 300,000 people then. We're at 1 million now, and we're going to grow by a third more.
A little different, sure.
Things have changed dramatically. Right. But rewriting the zoning code is not easy. I mean, there's a reason no other mayor has taken this on in the last 70 years.
Have others tried?
Yeah, you got to deal with issues. What a wise woman once told me: people don't fear change; they fear loss. And so we need to have them understand that this is
nobody likes change. They want it the way it was.
And people fear things that are different than what they know. And so our job as leaders is to help educate and engage and help them understand that sprawl is not a strategy. And sprawl has really kind of been leading our growth and development, I would argue, for the last 30 or 40 years. But by updating this zoning code, embracing height and density, especially in these link us corridors, these 5 corridors that we're establishing that are part of the transit, you can see how all this goes hand in hand, because we know the number one contributor to affordability is density. And having these transit corridors, rewriting the zoning code, we think the current code would allow us on these corridors to add about 6,000 new units over the next 10 years. And with the new code, 88,000 new units, difference. Almost half of what we need in the whole region.
And with that, and with those will come shops, restaurants.
That's why the transit-oriented development is so important, and the transit supportive infrastructure. It's not just about putting in the transit; it's about changing the zoning code, having transit supportive infrastructure, transit-oriented development all together. That's where you get this transformational project to make sure that we grow in a dynamic but an inclusive way into the future.
Have you looked at other forms of transportation, a metro rail, streetcars, stuff like that? Is any of that practical?
Not at this point. Because we don't have the density of population in our city, we wouldn't be eligible for funds the way that the formulas are put together at the federal government. Now, I do believe that streetcars.
Do you agree with the federal government?
Those are things we can continue to work on. But as the rules are written now, and as the formula is written, bus rapid transit's the best option for us. But again, as we rewrite the zoning code, these transit corridors take place, that density grows over time. I don't think bus rapid transit is the end-all be-all for Columbus. I believe it's the next step, and there are other transit options, particularly over the next 30, 50, 70 years, that I think think will help complement this as our density continues to grow and our city continues to grow.
I live in New York, again, the Northeast Corridor, Amtrak's busiest area. Is there train service between Columbus and other major Ohio cities that's effective?
Not yet. It's in the works, and we're really excited. I just talked to somebody from Amtrak earlier this morning. We've got our governor on board with us as well. That's a critically important part. The former governor was not supportive and helpful, and so that's critically important. We've got the entire region working together. We got multiple cities working together to expand Amtrak service to Ohio, Central Ohio in particular. So we're excited about it.
Have you jumped on the bus a few times yourself as mayor?
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially when my daughter was younger, one of her favorite songs was Wheels on the Bus, and we rode the bus all over town.
I'm so sorry. Yes.
Yeah, we had
We've all heard that one way too many times.
Yeah. I probably could recite that in my sleep now.
Yes, you
but she's 13 now, so we're teaching her how to ride the bus on her own now.
I could recite Madeline if you want to call your daughter. How did you get started in government? What's your background? What got you going?
My parents were foster parents. My mom's a social worker by training. My dad was an attorney in private practice. So they worked with a lot of foster parents, adopted parents. My older sister's adopted. And then my parents fostered on and off for about 30 years. They had about 47 kids come through our house growing up, not all at the same time. And
that's a lot of half brothers and sisters to keep track of.
But it was great because it exposed me to the differences in our community.
And your house was never quiet.
What's that?
Yeah, your house was never quiet.
Never quiet. Okay. But it really exposed me to the difference in opportunity. I fundamentally believe there are no bad kids in the world. There are kids that are born into some very difficult, challenging circumstances, and every child deserves an opportunity to succeed. So it really embedded in me a mindset of service, of giving back, and one of the reasons I ran for the school board when I was 24 and got whooped, and came back and won when I was 26, and then served on the school board and council, and was elected mayor when I was 40 years old. So really believe local government is the best way to give and serve, and I think you can have the greatest impact. I respect what people do at the state and federal level. We need them, but I think local government, and particularly being a mayor, is the best job in America.
What made you decide to run for school board at 24?
There were 7 school board members in Columbus, and 3 of them were over the age of 70. And so I thought that it was time, especially because I went through Columbus City Schools and graduated from Whetstone High School, that I felt like it was important to have a young person's perspective, somebody that had gone through the district more recently.
Way more recently, yes.
Yeah, and could contribute and be constructive and give an example of what positive things were happening in the school district as well.
And you wanted to see the principal walk by and say, "Excuse me, sir." Maybe just a little.
Especially the ones that gave me Saturday school or detention.
There you go. Those are the guys you want to go after. All right. Well, now we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with the Good Government Show questionnaire.
Sounds great.
These are difficult times. And if you believe in justice, progress, and democracy, the news you read and listen to can be pretty depressing. And that's why there's a new podcast called Good News for Lefties and America. Every day it features positive news stories for progressive listeners. Because no matter how disturbing the headlines might be, there's always hope we can build on for a better tomorrow. Good News for Lefties and America. Listen on this platform at goodnewsforlefties.com or wherever podcasts are heard.
Okay, so the Good Government Show questionnaire. This is going to get to your philosophy, the heart of your thinking about government. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Prepared? Okay. You were a city council person. You were a city council president. Now you're mayor. Define good government.
Good government focuses on getting results for the people we serve. I always say that, people want government to help empower people to improve their own lives. And that's what good government's all about to me.
To help people improve their own lives.
That's right.
How do you know if you're doing that? How do you judge your success? How do you know if you're achieving your goal?
Are you improving access to jobs, opportunity? healthcare. For me, particularly, it's all through the lens of equity, right? 2/3 of our city is doing better than we've ever done before, but a third of our city has kind of been left out and left behind from Columbus's success story. So I believe my job as mayor is to make sure that every family in every neighborhood is sharing in our success. And there's a difference between equity and equality, right?
Yes.
I mean, everybody believes in equality, but equity is different. It's being purposeful and intentional in investing in neighborhoods and neighbors that have been left out and left behind. And so we're trying to embrace equity from everything from our operating budget to our capital budget, where we're investing in transit and education and opportunities to make sure that, again, every family in Central Ohio is enjoying the success that we're seeing in other parts.
Do you have days and end of the day or end of the week where you go, yeah, I didn't really hit it this week?
I have certainly had those moments, especially in the last 4 years. Okay. Leadership has never been more lonely than the last 4 years. If you've been the mayor of a big city,
yes.
Everything from the fallout from the pandemic,
sure.
the reckoning around race and police community relations, an increase in crime. But we're seeing great results. I mean, crime in American cities is going down dramatically.
Yes, it is.
And it's because of the great work of our law enforcement organizations, the community, some of the reforms and changes we made to make our departments more transparent and accountable to the public.
Well, I was going to ask, have you made any changes in your police department?
Oh my gosh, significant. We've had, we brought in our first chief of police from outside the Division of Police.
Where did you find him?
She is from Detroit.
Oh.
And she has done an incredible job starting to change the culture within our Division of Police. We put in place a civilian review board, an inspector general. We've implemented body-worn cameras on all of our officers. And we know all of that has helped increase trust and legitimacy. And we have our officers doing more community policing and engagement than they've ever done before.
Are they getting out of their cars and
Absolutely.
walking around?
And we got them on bikes and on foot and in our pools
more
and our parks.
The bike lanes there.
Exactly. and it's been great because we're taking record numbers of guns off the street.
Good.
We're getting record levels of community tips and information. And the community is engaging. They're actually helping to recruit young people in the city to become police officers and firefighters. And that really was not happening 5 or 10 years ago.
Are you short police officers? Are you hiring more?
We are hiring more. We've been putting through 3 police classes every year for the last several years.
Okay.
I think by the end of next year, we'll have more officers on the street than we ever have before. We already have more firefighters than we've ever had before, but that's important because we keep growing as a city. At the end of last year, we were the fastest growing city in America. And again, we're going to grow as a region by more than the third. So we need more officers, more firefighters, and invest in technology to help make better use of the resources we have. And we're putting in place a real-time crime center that'll be up and running in the next couple of years that'll help us do that.
And how has this been received by the public?
Very well received. Our chief has got great support in the community, and is continuing to change the culture of the Division of Police. That doesn't happen overnight.
No, it does not. And there's a segment of the population that's always going to be upset by anything the police do, and any extra added expense of more cops.
And there's parts of the public that don't want to question police and think that the police shouldn't have to change, that society has changed, and that law enforcement doesn't need to evolve. We reject false choices. We think we can support the police and demand change, reform, and accountability at the same time. And I'm really proud the last 2 FOP.
That does sound like good government.
Yeah, the last 2 FOP contracts, we significantly raised the salaries of our officers, but we also put in place the Civilian Review Board, the Inspector General, the body-worn cameras, and are starting to address a seniority-based system that undermine merit for assignment within the Division of Police. And the chief now has more power to put the right people in the right places to protect the public in our city. We think that's good government.
Sounds like good government to me. If people don't like what you're doing, if they don't think that the government's firing on all cylinders, what should they do?
Well, I think engage, and
but it's hard.
It is. Everybody's busy, and we think it's important. I'm a big believer in continuous improvement. I'm going into my third term here, and I still think the best days of the city and the best days of mine as mayor are still ahead of me. I want to continue to improve. I want to continue to get better. I want to continue to learn, and so the best way for me to do that is making sure that I'm communicating directly with the public about what's working and what's not. I mean, it's really important, I think, particularly as you get in further into your service as mayor, that you remind yourself that you're not there to serve the city or represent the city. You're there to work on behalf of the people of your city and to serve them and make the government more accountable, transparent, and accessible for the people you serve.
As an elected official, you're in government, you've had multiple jobs in government. What would you like people to know about how government works? That
there are a lot of great people in government who love their communities. And I still believe that public service is a noble profession, a great calling. Whether you're a teacher, or a firefighter, a police officer, an elected official, I know our system of government is not perfect, but I still would argue that it's the best one on the face of the planet.
It's better than most.
But we need young people to serve. And I know that because of the partisanship and polarization and a certain amount of anti-government sentiment out there and kind of going after all public servants, we need to double down on recruiting young people into public service.
Are you doing that in Columbus?
We are, and it's critically important to have the right messengers too. I'm 49 years old. Me, I don't know how much credibility I may have with a 21, 22, 23-year-old, but having young police officers, young teachers, young nurses at public health, talking to students in high school, in college. We have our officers working in our middle schools right now to getting young people not only to build better relationships with the Division of Police, but to maybe spark an interest in them. We have a cadet program with both police and fire where you can't become a police officer until you're 21 in Columbus. You become a firefighter at 18, but we pay these kids that have come out of Columbus neighborhoods part-time until they become police officers, firefighters. A great pipeline, and so we're thinking about doing that in other areas, whether it's public utilities and public service and, certainly in neighborhoods and recreation and parks to create that pipeline for the future.
Have people come up to you who are not elected officials who work in city government, who've come up to you with a plan and you were just like, where did this come from? I never would have thought of this.
Yeah, some of the best ideas. I mean, if you take the time to listen to the people who are doing the work every day, turns out they got some pretty good ideas on how to make government work better. That's why we have this show. That's why we have this show. They have some pretty good ideas about, things that could work better. If you remove some barriers or you made it more constituent friendly and accessible, government can always, and that's the beauty of good government. It can always get better. It can always get better. And if we are committed to continuous improvement, that's what we ought to be about.
Two-part question. What's the best part of your job?
Best part of my job is being able to rally the entire community. We're a diverse community, much more diverse than we were when I was growing up there. We're a community. I would say the sun is always rising in Columbus, and it is an optimistic, can-do community that's excited about and embracing the future. And that's one of the best things about my job is the people of Columbus. They're resilient, they're positive, they're optimistic, and they are just can-do people.
And do they stop you in the street?
Absolutely. I mean,
do you go to the grocery store, the
grocery store, church, anywhere that people are, generally the mayor should be. And the mayor, it's different than the governor and the president. Anybody can come up and talk to you about anything that's on their mind. And that's what I love. Not only do I am committed to continuous improvement, I love to learn about things I don't know about. Right. So being curious, I think also leads to good government. It helps you be creative and innovative and thinking about what's best for the people you serve as opposed to a system of government.
And when you hear somebody say, hey, Mayor Andy, I just want to ask.
That's right. It happens all the time.
I'm sure. So what's the hardest part of the job?
Probably talking to the families of those affected by gun violence.
Okay.
Sometimes that's our officers, visiting our officers after they have been shot. Yep. Sometimes that's talking to a mom or a dad whose child's been shot. Knowing there's so much more we could be doing about gun violence if we were focused on good government, best practices, evidence, and results, as opposed to dogma, polarization, and partisanship. I mean, if you think about it, the last 4 years, more children in America have died as a result of gun violence than they have in car accidents.
Isn't that the first time of death for young people?
The first time in the history of the Republic.
Right.
If we had a virus, if there was a disease out there killing young people at this rate, we would call for a national summit. We would put out moonshots. We would do everything in our power. We would look at all the evidence and research and say, how can we save more children?
Yep.
And that's where good government has to come into play.
That noise you're hearing, folks, is the mayor banging on the table to make his point.
We can do this if we submitted and committed to good government. But yes, that is definitely the most painful part of being mayor, is being with the victims and the families of victims impacted by gun violence.
Is there stuff you can do locally to take guns off the street?
It's challenging. We're continuing to push it. Yep. We created an Office of Violence Prevention. We declared gun violence a public health crisis. So trying to take that public health perspective to how we reduce it. We made record investments into both prevention and intervention, not just enforcement. But to be honest with you, our state legislature has preempted a lot of really common sense gun laws that the overwhelming majority of Americans support. Red flag laws, background checks, putting in place just common sense things. Mm-hmm. We don't want people who abuse their intimate partners or children to have access to firearms. Everybody agrees with that. 90% of Democrats and Republicans. And so that's one of the reason you're hearing me pound on the table is I believe passionately in good government and best practices, what's in the best interest. And this is one of those issues that continues to frustrate the heck out of me because if we gave this issue of gun violence a great shot in the arm of good government, we could save kids and families.
You're a newsmaker. Where do you get your news from, though?
All over. I try to make sure I'm listening and taking heed from a variety of different sources.
You still get a newspaper delivered to your front door?
No. But check out a variety of news sources because I think it's important to get out of our echo chambers, and particularly as mayors, right? I mean, maybe certain members of Congress and U.S. senators just want to hear that what they're saying is right or have it validated by somebody regurgitating it to them. But as mayors, we have to represent and work for the entire city and the entire community. So even if it's something I don't agree with, I need to hear it. I need to understand it. And I need to understand, how I'm going to continue to work with that person and move our community forward.
Who's your political hero? Who inspires you?
I read a book about Bobby Kennedy in the fourth grade. I had the best teacher in my life in the fourth grade. Her name was Mrs. Ruth Hale, and I had great, highly acclaimed professors and all that kind of stuff in college and so forth. But she was the best teacher I ever had. And she introduced me into a biography on Bobby Kennedy in the fourth grade. And I've always, viewed him as a great model and hero for public service.
Are you going to be Attorney General and Senator someday?
No. The best job in America is being mayor, and I intend to do it as long as my wife, daughter, and the people of Columbus support me doing it.
Wife first, I see.
Absolutely.
Okay. You said you were a political science major in college, and you ran for school board at 24. Did you want to be mayor or president or senator?
I think I figured out early on. I think I figured out early on local government is where I was at.
Yeah.
Part of that is based on my parents and the way they gave back. I still think you can have the greatest impact in public service as a mayor and serving on the local level. Again, state and federal is important, but the impact they have is nothing compared to what I believe I can do for the people of Columbus as mayor.
Or governor.
People of Columbus as mayor.
You're good at this. All right. So I was in Columbus once. I went to what a couple of people told me was the best steakhouse. It was right downtown. If I'm coming back, what is the dish of Columbus everyone must have? What's Ohio's favorite food?
We got so many great dishes. I'd send you to the North Market, one of America's great public markets.
Okay.
We're getting ready to make some transformational investments there to make sure it's sustainable for the future. Columbus has become a much more diverse and international city, probably even since you were there. So some of the greatest tastes from all over the world. We have a thriving Ghanaian American community, Bhutanese, Nepali, Latino.
Have you tried it all?
Somali community. And so great foods from all around the world, and you can find them all under one roof at North Market. That was where Jenny's ice cream was born. The president's favorite ice cream, and so many other great things. Hot Chicken Takeover. All of them had their start there in the North Market, and it's a great place to go and have a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Does Cincinnati chili make it to Columbus?
It does. Skyline has a much bigger presence than Gold Star. And if you talk to my wife's from Cincinnati, the best thing in my life came to Columbus to me from Cincinnati, but she swears Skyline chili tastes different in Columbus than it does Cincinnati.
Well,
but there's a Gold Star Skyline divide in Cincinnati. I think it's a East Side West Side thing. So the Cincinnati chili is spaghetti with how do you get yours? 2-way, 3-way? What do you do? I generally do the conies, although I like the 3-way pretty good. All right. So this is the Good Government Show. We try to bring it back to good government always. Tell me about a good government project that you've worked on that you're really excited about. Well, there's so many, but I think one that I'm particularly proud of is the way the community has rallied around infant and maternal vitality. One of the great challenges was the number of children we were losing before their first birthday because moms had difficult pregnancies and difficult birth outcomes. And so we put together a public-private partnership called Celebrate One, where we rallied the entire community, healthcare systems, nonprofits, and have really galvanized the community around having better outcomes for moms and better birth outcomes for babies. So we don't want kids just to get to their first birthday. We want them to thrive in their early years of life. And that's one public-private partnership where good government has really made a huge difference and literally saved lives. Well, it sounds like there is a lot of good government going on in Columbus, Ohio, and even more and even faster with the new bus system. So Mayor Andy Ginther, President, soon to be Vice President and soon to be President of the Conference of Mayors, Andy Ginther, great to meet you. Thanks for stopping by and have a good year. Thank you so much. We will meet you back next year and we'll see how you did. Thank you. Look forward to it. Thank you very much. The Good Government Show is sponsored by Our. That's OUR for our community. Get involved. We hear that all the time from government leaders. Our co-brands with your government's name and logo. Your staff and the people you serve are connected and part of your community. From any device, your members provide reliable data and meaningful feedback. Ask a question like, do we want more parkland or better homeless services? More engaged conversations come through the Our app. Visit Ourco, that's OURCO.com, and book a demonstration. After you get done with this episode, hear more good government stories with our friends at How to Really Run a City. Former mayors Kasim Reed of Atlanta and Michael Nutter of Philadelphia, and their co-host, journalist and author Larry Platt, talk with guests and other mayors about how to really get stuff done in cities around the nation. Check them out where you're listening now or through their nonprofit news site, thephiladelphiacitizen.org/podcasts. The loneliest job in government. That's what Columbus Mayor Andy Ginther said. I can see his point, but he also said being mayor is the best job in government. It's good to hear the clear enthusiasm he has for both the job and his city. As Columbus grows, more transportation, more bike lanes is good government. Mayor Ginther also said the city was getting record levels of guns off the street, and he said they're working to reform the police department and expanding the force.
Finally, he said, the best days of the city are ahead, and his best days of mayor are ahead, and that's good news and good government. Well, that's our show. Thanks for listening. Please like us and share us with your friends, and review us right here where you're listening. And check out our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, for extras. Help us keep telling stories of good government in action everywhere. Join us again for another episode right here. I'm Dave Martin, and this is The Good Government Show. The Good Government Show is a Valley Park production. Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder are the executive producers. Our show is edited and produced by Jason Stershic. Please subscribe, then share us, and like us and review us. That's the best way to make sure we're able to keep telling these stories of our government working for all of us. Then listen to the next episode of The Good Government Show.